Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and Sportsmemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.
Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today, Tuesday. $2 Tuesdays at Wager Talk and Sportsmemo, August 3rd. I'm Lawrence Presman. He's Teddy Covers. We got a fun show today, Teddy. We're going off the beaten path. We're bringing handsome Kyle Anthony in. We're talking UFC. The main event, he'll take it apart, Cyril Gane versus Derek Lewis. And then we're going to look at the K squared versus Jessica Payne fight. That's my way around pronouncing that name. Buster Sports, CFL, and I mean, I don't know if you guys follow CFL much, listening to the show, but Buster hit 70% in the last CFL season, 69.4. He rains free money all over everybody with that sport, so stay with us. And, of course, Dave Sherapan. Teddy, how are you? What's going on, brother? How was your night?
I'm doing good, man. I came back. I won the free play. I won the service play. A little sweat that we'll talk about and what we learned last night. But overall, a good first day back for myself and the client. So, and you know what that first day back is after you take a break. You're always like, and it was a heck of a stressful game with the Phillies last night, but ended up getting there. So all good. How about yourself?
You want to talk stressful, bro? I was on a game -1.5. My team went up 7-1. Then they were down. Then they were up. Then they were down. Then they got it there in the 10th, 11-8. Oh, all the while I was trying to actually not watch the game. That didn't work. Ended up... No. You can't pull away. I mean, the drama was just unbelievable. San Francisco Giants -1.5, but I got it done. So no complaints. Guys watching $2 Tuesdays. Kyle Anthony's the $2 Tuesday handicapper at Wager Talk. We'll have him on the show to discuss that. Rob Vincelletti is the $2 Tuesday handicapper over at Sportsmemo, and he's got a $2 play in the UEFA soccer qualifier game. So make sure to check that out. It's only $2 over at Sportsmemo. Teddy, what did you learn last night? Anything?
So, yeah, there's a ton of stuff. I was like, should we go to the NBA free agency, which we could have easily done and make fun of the Knicks one more time for the single worst contract on the opening night of free agency. But this was one that stood out to me only because I'm watching the game on ESPN. And we talked on this theme a little bit yesterday. Talk about Evander Kane and the issues that the NHL is now having with gambling. Because the gambling stuff is going to make headlines. And the leagues, as a group, better be ready for this stuff. And again, I was looking post-game for anything about it. I couldn't find a quote. I couldn't find anything. But this is an ESPN game. The Phillies rally with 5 in the 9th to take the lead, or was it 4? Is it 7-3 or is it 6-3? It didn't matter for the total, although some early underbettors pushed 9 down to 8.5. So 6-3, it's already a tough beat, being that the game was 1-0 into the 6th and 3-2 into the 9th. But the run line bets, 6-3 versus 7-3, could well be in question. And they were in question when in the bottom of the 9th, all of a sudden, the Nats come out and 2-run bomb right away. Boom. And now is it 6-5? Is it 7-5? You're looking on ESPN and saying 6-5. You're looking on your live odds screen and saying 7-5. And you don't know. It was a double play. Did the run count? And then it didn't. And then it did again. Books were confused. Better were confused. And then all of a sudden it's a sweat and a half. MLB's got to be ready for this stuff. All right. They're not handling the official scorer in the game, supposedly. And again, I couldn't find anything written about this after the game. This is all just what my eyes saw and what I was hearing from the broadcast. But when the official scorer screws up, that's got to get fixed right away. MLB let it dawdle for a while last night. That's not what bettors want. MLB has to make sure the scorers know the rules, that when the run comes in before the second out of the double play, it counts. And maybe they need to have a backup already. Not a good look for baseball. And again, this is one that got no publicity. There's another one like this. Might get a bunch. What'd you learn, Prez?
I just got some breaking news from head office. We do have another $2 Tuesday handicapper over at Sportsmemo. That's what I learned, Teddy. And I learned that my family never knows what time I'm on and calls all the time in the middle of my show. Anyway, R&R, 13-3 run. He has made $1,000 bettors, $100,000 since October 9th, 2013. He's got a big play up tonight in baseball, and he's on a 13-3 baseball run. R&R, you can grab him over at Sportsmemo for only $2. Teddy, what did I learn last night? So Vivian and I have been watching a lot of the Olympics. Yeah, I'm back here, but I'm not going to make fun of them this time. It's just too much material. We watched in track and field. They have all these heats, right? So it's like we watched the 200-meter heats. There's like 6 of them, and the 1,500-meter heats and the 400-meter heats. We probably watched about 20 heats last night. Most meaningless nonsense in the world. However, before every heat, they put a board up of the runners and their personal bests, etc. So whoever lost the heat before gets to pick a player and offer a dollar value bet. We did this for 4 hours last night. It was a blast. I mean, we literally bet on heats all night. And I ended up losing $10. So that's what happened with me.
So gambling is fun. And when you're betting relatively modest amounts, and I'm sure you say you finished the night down $10 or up $10, whatever. You're betting a couple of bucks on these games. You're betting pizza money on it. 4 hours go by like that. I get you. Oh, good times.
We were screaming at the television. Dude, there was a runner from Jordan. So they put up all the times for the 400-meter women. It was like 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 75. So I offered her 100-1 odds on the Jordanian runner. She didn't bite. Anyway, that's the story. Kyle Anthony joining us. And, Kyle, get your ugly mug off of this show, dude.
How you doing, Prez? Life good? Life treating you good?
I don't know. Do you think Tom Hanks is happy when Brad Pitt shows up?
No. The answer is no.
Okay, Kyle.
That's actually a good line, Prez.
Thanks, dude. It just comes out.
But once in a while, he gets lucky. Once in a while.
I don't know if Tom Hanks is the right guy to use that line with, because he's like, an iconic actor where Brad Pitt is an iconic specimen. But yeah, somewhere in there is a good line. Kyle, you've cashed 6 of your last 8 cards for your clients in the UFC. You won your last 2 5% plays, both by knockout. You are as good as it gets in the UFC. I mean, I'd love to get you in the octagon legit. But that's
we're doing that, Prez. We're doing that. We're gonna go to the Apex in Vegas, and we're gonna handle this. We're gonna handle business.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go ahead, Teddy.
I'm booking it in, Prez. You're no chalk, my friend.
Yeah, dude. In all seriousness, if I fought Kyle, it would be Prez plus, I don't know, Dave Koken might have the guts to release an 80-1 underdog.
I'm also taking the under in the fight. I'm deciding if it'll be, 1.5 rounds is there wouldn't be any over money on 1.5 rounds. Half a round?
Half rounds. Dude, I couldn't run away from Kyle for that long. Like,
I know.
I mean, if there was no fence, I would go with over because I think I would be able to just run around a table,
It's called an octagon, not a fence, dude.
And really, Teddy? So the fence around the octagon is called an octagon. So the octagon is surrounded by an octagon. Is that how you think it works?
The octagon is the fence, which is the octagon.
There you go. That's clarification. There you go.
The octagon is the shape. Anyway, I'm done. We're done. Steve Merrill, please come back. Speaking of which, Steve Merrill will be on Friday with Teddy. Kyle, let's go, brother. Cyril Gane, Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis plus 250. Gane at minus 310. How do we bet this, man? I can't lay 310 here. And these are big boys, so I don't know if what knockout potential. What do we do?
Yeah, so this is definitely, the first thing with this fight really is it's a heavyweight title fight, and we don't have the heavyweight champion. So scheduling issues, Francis Ngannou is not going to be in this fight. We have an interim title fight. So there you have it there. But really with Gane, his thing is, he's 9-0. He's looked good since he's entered the UFC, has an extensive kickboxing background, knocking out Junior Dos Santos, beating Rosenstruck, beating Volkov by decision, has looked good in those spots. At times timid, but looked good in those spots. And he's very versatile with his striking, uses knees, elbows, nice level-changing kicks. He has a great arsenal there. On the other side, you got Derek Lewis, who pretty much is everything that he isn't. You know what I mean? You've got, Lewis is the big power puncher. He's not very technical. He's going to be sloppy, when he's in those exchanges. But he's 7-2 out of his last 9, only losing to Daniel Cormier and Junior Dos Santos over that span. And he's slimmed down a lot. And I think that is a really, really great, strategic move for him because he's really, very sloppy at times, wasn't taking it seriously. He's looked really good. Also in the fact that the guys that he's fought have been very tough stylistic matchups. You've got guys like Alir Latifi, Olenek, Curtis Blades. These are guys that are legitimately pure wrestlers. They're going to look to level change. They're going to look to get the takedowns. They're really going to look to push forward. And that kind of takes takes Lewis out of his game. But the biggest knock, and I would think if there's any knock on Gane, because Gane pretty much is the total package when it comes to heavyweight division, is really he's really overly risk adverse. And there's times where he has his opponent hurt. He doesn't go for the kill. He doesn't push forward. He's looking to be that counter striker. And that's really been his thing. He'll sit back. He's having sweeping decision victories and spots where he maybe could push the pace, and he has no problem sitting back. He's been criticized for that because he isn't going for the kill. But on the other side here, you've got, Lewis. Lewis is 36 years old. That is a knock on him, but he's got 3 times the MMA experience, which is something I already like. But the big part here really is going to be there's so much variance in the heavyweight division. To your point, Prez, there is a lot of variance there. And, it just takes one big one to land and end this fight here. On the other side, with Gane, he's going to be strategical. He's going to be on the outside here. So I do like Lewis here. There's no way I can justify the minus 310 line here. I think that's way too big. I think Lewis, he's the metrics are terrible on him, but boy, somehow he keeps finding knockout victory. So I do like the plus 250, but getting even more on that is I don't see that if this goes to a decision, Lewis is not, I don't think, going to win this fight. I think he goes out there, and if he wins, it's a knockout. That's around plus 350, so it's even a better price here. And also a statistic, Lewis is 10-0 fighting in Texas, and Saturday night they will be fighting in Texas.
And we have seen money for the favorite there, Gane. I'm seeing as high as minus 380.
Yeah.
On my live odds screen as we speak. So be sure to check out that WagerTalk live odds screen to find the book that has the best available number for your wager. Let's talk about one on the undercard, Kyle. And this is one Carolina Kolshevitz?
But you're all right. You're close.
Kolshevitz, all right. We're close enough. I'll handle it. Jessica versus Jessica Penney. This one priced near Pick'em. Kolshevitz, a slight favorite in the minus 120. I'm seeing minus 125s out there right now. But basically, this is a pick'em price fight on the undercard. Who do you like in the match for the ladies?
This one here is if you're betting it, this is one that you bet and you go get yourself a beer, you go get a snack, you kind of get away from it, because I have a feeling this is going to be a very sloppy fight. But I do like one side over the other, because this is not going to be entertainment value. We're just looking for a winner here. And Jessica Penne, her big thing was in 2017, she was popped for PEDs. She had steroid accusations, whatever it may be. She kind of is pushing through that, claim that she was innocent. So there is kind of a lapse there. But what I do like is she came back recently against Lupe Deganes. And Lupe was an undefeated fighter, good grappler, strong in the clinch. And the one thing that I like the most about Penne was really that she utilized grappling, and she never really does. In 2017, 2016, when she was fighting, she was just standing, striking, not really looking to piece it together, smoothly transition and level change there. And in that fight, she was able to kind of do that. Now, her cardio did tick off a little bit in that second and that third round. But what I did like was she was utilizing the clinch. And that is definitely a path to victory against Carolina. Now, Carolina, on the other side, she's a heavy kickboxer. That's her game. She's going to look and stand. But the big knock on her, really, she's 0-4 in her last 4. Although she's lost to elite level opponents, definitely top level, she hasn't won a round since 2018. She hasn't even won a round. Now, again, yes, high level opponents, she's losing to, but she's either getting knocked out or losing a sweeping decision. So that's a big part of this. But the big difference maker for me, and why I feel that she's losing a lot of these, is she's small for the division. And also she lacks strength. Her big part is she lacks the strength in the clinch. No opponent really is scared to kind of stand toe-to-toe, exchange, push forward. She has a good pitter-patter strike. She can kind of maneuver from the outside a little bit. But I think against Penne, she's going to really be able to utilize some of that grappling. Now, she's going to have the strength advantage. She's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage on her as well. I think utilizing the grappling is going to be the path to victory here. I think she can get in tight on her. There's not going to be any kind of resistance that she was seeing against Lupe in her prior fight. Carolina doesn't have that strength. I think even one takedown in a round will keep Carolina down. So again, I think this is going to be one ugly fight to watch. It's not going to be entertaining, but hopefully you come back after that beer and you see that we cashed in on a decision, because I kind of leaned a decision here to give him a better price, but I'm good taking Jessica Penne at basically even money right there.
Kyle Anthony, everybody. And Kyle, it really impressive listening to you break these games down. I mean, on all levels. You got the word pitter patter in there. I mean, like you create scenery in the mind, if you will. It really is. I mean, this sport unbelievably well, and it obviously shows in both how you break the games down and your record. With all that said, we're asking all guests who come on this week the following question, and that is, given that we are in the time of the Olympiad, if you could create an Olympic sport that you would win the gold medal at, what made-up sport would you create?
Well, I would absolutely have to say beer pong. I mean, I think my game is good. I think when you're talking just clutch shooting with one cup, I'm your guy. That's where I pay the bill. So I would say beer pong would be my choice.
Okay, well, if you can put up a beer pong video on Twitter, we'd all like to see your skills.
I got the game, Prez. I got the game. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do in the octagon, 1-on-1, and then after that, we jump over. It's like at the castle. I jump over to a beer pong game.
Well, I prefer if we do that. There's that sport boxing chess where they box for 1 round and they play chess for 5 minutes. That's a true thing. Legitimately, after that 1 round,
we each do a shot. That's it.
That sport should be more in the Olympics than the triple jump. But anyway, that's what we should do. We got chess, then fight chess. But we have to start with chess, because we won't get to the fight.
Okay, that sounds good. That's fair. That's fair. It's a friendly game. That's good.
Okay, get out of here, brother, guys. Oh, you have anything to promote? Whoops. Bring him back. Bring him back.
Yeah. So $2. If you got $2 in your pocket, check it out. I've got a 4% play that is loaded right now. Feel good about it. Right around a pick-em price there, as well as I have another 5% up. Hit the last 2, like you said. Knock them both out. first and second round knockouts for those 5% plays. So got one this week. We'll have more plays loaded on that 5% package. So if you buy it, keep checking your email because I will be sending out more plays.
Awesome stuff. Guys, we'll be right back. Teddy's Big Game Breakdown. Buster Sports, some CFL. Dave Sharapan as well making an appearance. And, of course, the daily presidential address. Kyle, go look at yourself in the mirror. We'll be right back in 20 seconds.
I gotta go.
The NFL 2021 season kicks off on Thursday, August 5th. And while some say I won't bet the preseason, but many NFL handicapping experts say there is more value betting the preseason than any other sport. This is one of the only times in sports betting that you can have a team and a coach trying to win versus a team and a coach that doesn't care. The NFL preseason is $249. You can save $70 by purchasing this package by kickoff of the Hall of Fame game August 5th. The entire NFL preseason for just $179. Yes, football is back.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. And I promised that when I got back from my vacation, we would have football on every show. And we didn't have a whole lot of football on yesterday's show. So I wanted to make sure that even though the game's not till Thursday, I gave you guys some NFL thoughts for the Hall of Fame game, the preseason opener. And right now, looking at the WagerTalk Live odds screen, we're seeing the Steelers minus 1.5, total in the 33 range. I'm seeing a couple of 32.5s starting to pop up for this contest. And I have nothing but opinion here. This is not a side or a total that I've bet yet. But I'm leaning side and I'm leading total here. I'll give you both plays on this big game breakdown. And let's start with the thought process. The Hall of Fame game's always going, right? So it's that first preseason game has historically been the lowest scoring preseason game. When you look at these two teams' totals for next week, they already totaled, they have lines and totals for week one. Compared for this week, you're seeing the effect of the Hall of Fame game on this total. Again, 33, 32.5. And part of the reason, look, Dak Prescott's not going to play for Dallas. The Steelers have offensive line issues, potentially big offensive line issues. I get all of that. But let's not forget a couple of things. One, in terms of quarterback rotations, Garrett Gilbert, who's looked very good in camp, Cooper Rush, Van DiNucci, all with experience for Dallas. Roethlisberger may get a cup of coffee here. Mason Rudolph, Dwayne Haskins, Josh Dobbs, all with experience for Pittsburgh. So in the second half of this ballgame, we've got experienced quarterbacks on both sides. All right, which means points. And then we look at the Steelers. Tomlin has a long-term track record as a bet against. Certainly not a bet on coach in the preseason. And yet, you look at the recent results for the Steelers. The last two times, week one, 2019, 2018 for Pittsburgh. 2 wins, 2 covers, 2 times getting into the 30s for the Steelers. So the long-term track record for Tomlin, not equating necessarily with the short-term track record for Tomlin, which is much better in games like this one. I'm leaning Pittsburgh. I'm leaning over. Haven't pulled the trigger on either one, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if I get involved with both, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if one of those two ends up being a client selection by Thursday. So lean favorite, lean over. That's a pretty square big game breakdown, Prez. Back to you, Mike.
Teddy Covers. Great stuff, man. Made a lot of sense what you were saying. Buster Sports joining us. First time on WagerTalk Today. And first time I've spoke to him since his Montreal Canadiens won the silver medal. Don, congrats on that, by the way. I know you're from Toronto area. I understand you're a trader. I will not judge. I will not judge, and we will focus on the Canadian Football League. First, before we get into anything, do you cheer for the Montreal Alouettes as well?
I do not, Lawrence. I do not cheer for the Montreal Alouettes, and I just want to thank you and Teddy for having me on the show. It's first time on the WagerTalk Today show, and as far as I don't even want to get, you know what, Prez?
Yeah, back in the day, Move on, Don.
We don't want to get
Teddy.
We don't want to get into the whole Montreal Stanley Cup thing and Montreal beating Toronto, right? So,
you
brought it up, Prez. Why
my show.
You brought it up.
My show.
I understand that. So your show, so you can say something to me and I can't answer back. Is this just like puck time all over again?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Want to come back another time? Don,
yes.
Don, in all seriousness, man, let's get right into your CFL because I just want to read off to everybody the type of numbers that you put down in Canadian football, and then we'll get into it. Guys, I'm literally reading this right off of a page. It's absolutely ridiculous. The king of CFL. I mean, literally the king of CFL. Number one at both Sportsmemo and WagerTalk. Teddy, this guy's all-time CFL record, all-time, 64%. 64 freaking percent. That is absurd. 69.6, 70%, 2 seasons ago, which was last season. Just unbelievable stuff. So, Don, let's start there. How are you so good at the sport? It did miss a full year last year. So how are you going to adapt to all the changes and the layoff over the last year?
Yeah, you know what, Prez? It's one of those sports that I've known like all my life, obviously, being in lived in Canada for a long time. I switched up from Mexico and Canada now. It's one of those things also, Prez, as you know, there's as you get older in this area, there was 3 teams really. Like you have Ottawa, Toronto, and Hamilton in the CFL. And you get to know people. You get to know a lot of things. You get to understand. And I think the major thing for me on why I do so well in the CFL is that it's 4 games a week. So think about it. If you were able to just take an NFL week and there was only 4 games, and every week you got to study 4 games. So I've followed the sport for so long how I have, knowing a lot of the trends, knowing a lot of the things that might seem one way and not the other, because the CFL and the NFL game, as you know, Lawrence, is way different. There's lots of things that are different between that. And again, I know this is unheard of, but I shoot for basically done that. I think we hit 55 one year. So I think we hit 55 one year, but yeah, it's been very good. This year's going to be a lot tougher. Tons of changes, tons of moves going on, but and even to the point where the odds makers don't even want to put up lines yet. You have NFL first week lines. You have college football first week lines. Right now, there's no CFL. I went on Bet365, DraftKings. There's no CFL lines for the games, and there's a game on Thursday. So,
well, I know Teddy has a question, and Teddy, I know you have a question. I'll get to you, but I just want to correct you, Don. Guys, don't go over to 365 or any of these places to find out if there are lines. Go to the WagerTalk live odds page.
Sorry,
Cats
Lawrence, you should do that.
-2.5. Lions -2. Lines are up. Teddy, go ahead.
No, that's not a real line.
No, that's not. No, they're not. Exactly. Yeah.
So, be aware of that.
You had a follow-up question.
Yeah, so the season starts August 5th, and
that's good.
It's going to start with which is Thursday, a full week this week. And I will say this, like you talked about your success, and you have long-term and short-term success in the CFL. And the guy, being in Vegas for 20-something years now, this much I've learned is that the guys that put the work into CFL, they beat it. And when you're talking about 150 play sample size and hitting 64%, that's pretty darn good. And of course, last full season, up nearly 87 units, nearly doubling your clients' bankrolls. It's going to start with Winnipeg and Hamilton, which is a rematch of the Grey Cup from last time, which is 2019 Grey Cup. Give me some early thoughts on Winnipeg, the Blue Bombers and the Tiger Cats. I know these.
Now, do you bet CFL at all, Teddy? Do you ever partake in anything? Here's some information and bet that, or are you just strictly NFL and college football?
I do not handicap the CFL. I have been known to make a CFL wager when recommended by some of these smart guys around me.
I see. Okay. Well, yes, it is. It is the rematch of the Grey Cup on Thursday. It's going to be in Winnipeg, and right now, Winnipeg is one of actually the teams that are pretty well. They've got a lot of their team back, and they have probably what I believe is the best head coach in the CFL, in Mike O'Shea, and he also takes care of the special teams. And Winnipeg has probably one of the better special teams. The thing is, for Winnipeg, the West is going to be really tough with Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, and Calgary. They're all teams that are very closely matched up, and they were 2 years ago when Winnipeg was actually an underdog in both games and beat Calgary and beat Saskatchewan to get to that Grey Cup final against Hamilton. The one big difference this year for Winnipeg is that Paul LaPolice is now that was their offensive coordinator. He's now in Ottawa. So now Buck Pierce comes in, and even though the quarterback Zach Collaros, who used to be a Hamilton guy, he's very good, but it might take him a little time to get reacquainted with what Buck Pierce wants to do. I think it's going to be fairly similar what he had 2 years ago. Yeah. But again, it's all those changes like that. It's going to take a little while to get used to. And it's for sure, because just so you guys know, if you're not aware, the CFL actually it was like June when they decided there was a big chance that they weren't going to play again this year. But they were able to get fans into the stadiums, and now they're playing, and all of us CFL fans are very happy that they are. And as far as for Winnipeg, that's probably their biggest change. And the offenses, of course, will be behind the defenses. So we'll look to see what the low scoring first halves and things like that. As for Hamilton, Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Prez. Yeah.
No. Finish up, Don. We do need to keep moving, but finish up, brother.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll quickly a few things about Hamilton this year. There's going to be a quarterback fight, basically. Right now, they gave Jeremiah Masoli the number 1, but Dane Evans is right 1A, and so that's going to be interesting to watch. Hamilton on defense have had a couple of guys retire, in Murray and Bro Senior. They've retired. Larry Dean went to Saskatchewan. So for this game, but they have Samani Lawrence, and that guy, he is fantastic. He's the leader of that defense, and they'll bring a lot of guys in. This, as I say, there's no lines out right now. I think it's going to be a great game. And if you want to watch CFL football, tune in on Thursday night. And it's actually going to be on ESPN2, this game. So there'll be something for people that haven't watched CFL or don't know much about the sport. It's very exciting, and it's on ESPN2 on Thursday, so you might want to check that game out.
Don Buster, everyone, you can find him at sportsmemo.com. Bottom line, and Don, we'll get to the Toronto-Calgary game in a second, but guys, I cannot stress this enough. And I'm serious about this. We tell you all the time to focus, to bet on these periphery sports. You know, Teddy and I have mentioned Tokyo Brandon, I think 1,000 bloody times. He's literally the number 1 expert in 2021 at WagerTalk.com, playing sports like Japanese baseball, Korean haiku, Don Buster, CFL. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is averaging 64% in college football over the last 6 years. Nobody is averaging 64% in NFL over the last 6-7 years. Nobody in any sport is averaging the type of numbers, not even Tokyo Brandon, than Don Buster is in the Canadian Football League. And whether you guys know about it or watch it, it doesn't matter. It's money, cash. We have a special for you guys. It ends tomorrow. Buster Sports' season package, $699. You guys could get it for $299. $400 off, $299. Head over to Sportsmemo. No coupon code required. and ask yourself, if you don't buy this package and bet on CFL, why are you even listening to this show? Don, Toronto, Calgary, 10 seconds.
Okay, 10 seconds. I'll try it. Right now, there's going to be a quarterback, another fight
seconds.
between Beth. Okay, thank you. Between Bethel Thompson and I've lost my train of thought now. Now you've got me on between Bethel
Slow
Thompson
down.
and. Okay, sorry. Hold on, I lost my stuff, Prez, because you told me that I had 10 seconds. Between Nick Arbuckle and McLeod Bethel Thompson are going for the job. The big thing for Toronto is that they now have the quarterback coach of Calgary, Ryan Dinwiddie, as their head coach. They end up getting a bunch of receivers. Rogers from Calgary got a couple of Calgary receivers, so that helps them. And as far as Calgary goes, they probably do have another one of my most respected coaches is Dickerson in Calgary, but he has problems on the offensive line this year. They're all young. It might not be a problem because they do very well within. They're young. He has that and a lot of young wide receivers. But he has Bo Levi Mitchell, who struggled and threw 3 interceptions in that last game. So I'm just going to say, once that line comes out, a lot of people will be wanting to bet Calgary. And if I get a good price, I'll be taking Toronto because they've totally revamped the team that was 4-14 last year. So sorry, that's about as quick as I can do it.
Don, all good, man. And I got to ask you, like everybody else, if there was an Olympic sport that you can put in the Olympics that you would win the gold medal in, excluding stealing Tom Selleck's mustache, what would it be?
You know what? Flipping quarters against the wall, or when you go to those stag and does and you flip the quarters against the bottle of booze or whatever, you flip a quarter against the wall. That would be the closest to the wall. I'd be one of those guys. You know, in that The Last Dance, Jordan was flipping those quarters against. I'd be beating Michael Jordan all day long.
So
that would be my sport.
Teddy, these freaking answers are amazing. I mean, who knew? Kyle is a world expert beer pong player. Don Buster, a world expert coined at the wall flipper. Dave Koken, a world expert sex savant. Who knew? Who knew? Don, thanks for joining us. Guys, head over to Sportsmemo, grab his package, $299, $400 off. And Don, we will have you back on again to talk CFL. Best of luck, my friend. And again, thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot for having me, guys. Take care. Have a good show.
Guys, no daily presidential address today because, well, it's either that or Dave Sharapan, and I voted Dave Sharapan. Teddy, where did your vote land?
Clearly, Dave Sharapan. It really wasn't. Dave Sharapan was minus 6,000. And that's short.
Oh, and there he is wearing the Brewers hat. Dave, how many hats do you have, and is it because you're bald?
Hey, I got a nice sponsorship deal with the hats, so I love wearing the hats, so that worked out good. I am bald, and I got to protect the head out in the sun, so I just like wearing hats. Yeah, it just keeps the shade.
Did you really get a sponsorship deal?
No.
Did you I thought it'd be cool if you got a sponsorship deal to wear hats.
I did.
You see, he's getting more every day.
That's what I mean. So, like, it's I had some, and I got a guy who got a guy, and he said, "Listen, get him the hats he wants." So we got some hats.
So Teddy, so if anybody out there is looking to sponsor Dave Sharapan for anything, his sales pitch is, a razor company sponsored me because I got a guy who knows a guy who got me a razor. So I don't think it'll be an effective sponsorship given that he doesn't name anybody who's actually paying him.
I don't want.
Where are these people supposed to be advertising your sponsorship? What?
It's coming. It's coming, Prez. It's coming. Don't worry. I don't want to do it on your show. I came to talk on your show for you. I don't want to promote Yeah, Flex Tuesdays. There you go.
Yeah. Teddy, get some bloody information out of this guy, would you?
Teddy, this is what's happened while you've been gone. The teacher was away. We had substitute teachers. A lot of things happened. We got a little loose. Rein this thing back in here, would you please?
I'm trying, though not easier said than done sometimes. That said, Dave, as a veteran odds maker, I want to ask you, has football season started already? Does it start at the beginning of August, or is this a story where guys are still taking vacations? It's still kind of slower? Or is this football season right now? Are the bookmakers in full gear?
So it's really weird. It's still kind of vacation, but it's ramping up. Everybody's doing the work. But like you see the stories, right? The Carson Wentz news yesterday, the left tackle's out today. The Colts season wins, everything's crashing. The divisions, obviously that division was a head-to-head bet basically between Tennessee and the Colts because Jacksonville and Houston, not really a threat to win the division. So you want to talk about a sharp play. Like that thing lit up on fire yesterday with the news that Wentz was going to be out. Probably should have lit up over the weekend because there were some people talking about it, on Friday. But that was minus 110. You look now, that's minus 135, 140 in town, Tennessee to win the division. So football season has started. But, I heard the big game breakdown on the preseason. Preseason is such a limited market as far as interest. But it's almost like the draft, Teddy, where it's a sharp market. And I can't believe you said over on that first game. That's surprising to me because that game has gone under, I think, like 8 out of the last 9 years, the Hall of Fame game.
Goes under all the time. It's a lean. Yeah. I haven't bet it yet.
Right.
But from a matchup, the Hall of Fame game, it feels like the under money is coming knee-jerk, like we just bet the Hall of Fame game under every year, not based on the specifics of this matchup, although there are still obviously a lot of questions about Pittsburgh's offensive line. Let's talk about the NBA free agency last night, because last night, a big night in free agency. My opinion about a number of teams changed last night. Does the marketplace move that quickly when it comes to the future market for the NBA, or does it take a little while for some of these free agent moves to let the market settle?
So it's funny. I was talking to some guys yesterday about that. You saw the signing in Miami adjust the odds from anywhere from like 30 to 1 down to 20 to 1, 18 to 1 on Miami to win it all. You see a lot of movement a little bit here and there, guys shaded numbers and stuff. There's not a lot of bets right away, but a lot of the bets that come in are big bets. Talked to somebody yesterday who, let me know that someone walked into the Westgate yesterday and bet the Lakers 7-2 odds, Teddy. They took plus 350 on the Lakers to win it all to win 100,000. So it was like $26,781.45, whatever that backs out to. But they bet the exact amount to win 100K. So people bet it, but you don't see no one's walking in to bet the Atlanta Hawks for $50 in the books today. It's the real, specific teams, really the only teams that, I don't know, in the West, it's the Lakers and everybody else, and it's the Nets and everybody else. But when you look at the odds for those, why would you bet that money and tie it up that long on plus 250 or plus 220 and plus 350 or plus $4 on the Lakers? I never understood it, but people do bet it.
I can answer that question. So, Dave, would you put $1 on that bet and have your dollar sit for the whole year while you waited it out?
No.
Just $1. Not even $1.
On the Lakers to win it all?
Dude, the bottom line is this. The bottom line is this guy could be worth $400 million, and that ultimately equates to you, to Buster, throwing quarters against a wall. Don't judge, man.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not talking.
Yes.
It's not the amount.
It doesn't make sense.
No unit shaming. It just seems like you got to get better odds to tie up your money that long. Plus, I don't think the Lakers are going to win it all. So I disagree with that as well. They're an old team, and they threw Russell Westbrook into the mix. Now, you tell me how that makes – I mean, that makes them better on paper maybe, but they're still just, it's that old adage. There's one ball, and there's a lot of guys that need to touch it and want to touch it. Yes, I don't know. Russell hasn't won anything. He's a great player, but I don't think that makes them the favorite overwhelmingly to win the NBA championship.
Yeah, me and you were on the same page for that one. It's not like that plus 350 won't ever be available again. You have to grab it right now.
Right.
You might find that line at the start of the playoffs next year. Dave, just a few minutes left here with Dave Sherripp. And again, a great follow on Twitter, a must follow on Twitter if you're looking for inside info from the books here in Las Vegas at SportsBK Consig, Sportsbook Consigliere, at SportsBK Consig on Twitter. Dave, let's go real quick with today's MLB card. Have you seen anything in terms of sharp money? Have you seen anything in terms of public action? What's the baseball card looking like for today?
Well, yesterday was, decimation, right? It was almost all $2 favorites and big dogs won. So, I mean, the one, I'm wearing the hat, but the Brewers are 11-3 against the Pirates this season. They've played 14 times and they've won 11 of those games. Price is steep, but that's another play. The Yankees number has come down. Now, again, Cole was a scheduled starter, and he's not the scheduled starter. He has COVID. Baltimore won yesterday as a big dog against the Yankees. I think people are betting Baltimore just for the number. Again, when you get into baseball season this time of year after the trade deadline, I always say bet on the games with teams that mean something. Trying to pick the games where one game means something to someone and not the other team, it's pretty tough. But, I mean, I look at Ralph's sheet every day. That first pitch thing that comes out every single day. I look at that every day. You can see a lot of stuff when you just look at those numbers and you don't have to watch the game. Yep. So, I mean, that's a valuable resource for me.
Yeah, it's amazing. Dave Sherripp, everyone at SportsBK Consig. And I agree with Teddy. A good follow. Dave, we've asked every guest this question. The answers have been outstanding. If you could put a sport into the Olympics that you would win gold at, what would it be? Dave Koken said sex. Kyle Anthony said beer pong. Buster Sports said flipping quarters at a wall. Teddy said sad resting face. What's your answer?
Well, I mean, my secret sport is ping pong. I'll beat any of you at ping pong. We can make lines, but the sport that's not a sport would be ping pong. Yeah, I'm borderline table tennis ready for the Olympics.
You wouldn't win the gold in that sport, but that's good to know. I didn't know you were so good at that. So what sport would you actually win the gold at?
Napping. I could nap on command.
I will take you on. I will take you on in a napping contest.
Listen, since the stroke, I was a good napper before, but since the stroke now, I could fall asleep like that. So, I mean, if we need to, in 3 minutes, be asleep, I'll be sleeping right here in this chair. Napping, gold medalist right here.
Awesome stuff, Dave Sherripp. What a great show. What a fun show. That's for sure. Teddy, we got another good one tomorrow. I haven't figured out the guests yet, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say Steve Merrill will be making an appearance, and Arthur DeCesar and likely Carmine Bianco, but we'll figure it out. Brother, I'm having a Portuguese peri-peri sandwich for lunch, so get me the hell out of here.
I'm trying. Dave, anything you want to promote before you go, my friend?
Just SportsBK Consig, the podcast, Cash Considerations, and daily on SiriusXM 204 and Sports Grid TV from 7 to 10 Eastern, 4 to 7 Pacific. Thank you, boys. Good to see you back in the chairs again, Lawrence and Teddy, just like an old pair of shoes.
Yeah, that's what we are. And speaking of an old pair of shoes, that's going to wrap it for the Tuesday edition of WagerTalk Today. We'll be back again tomorrow, same time, noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. here on the left coast. Between now and then, enjoy the games and good luck.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and Sportsmemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.